This is the report on Eisenhower and the effects of his actions on the public during the Cold War by Sam Pratt, Matt Perez, and Tyler Nelson. Post-World War II, the American government reached a point of mass hysteria with the fear of communism. This paranoia resulted in the invasion of North Korea. The leaders of the United States feared the advancements of the Soviet Union and their influence on Third World countries. Also, the growth of communism into Central and South America, Eastern Europe, and China made the American government fearful that communism would spread throughout the world. In the 1940s, after the United States dropped the atomic bombs, the USSR decided to create their own, thus sparking the nuclear arms race. The US had unknowingly started the Cold War, which would lead to heightened relations that would last for several decades. By starting a nuclear arms race, the United States. In 1952, Dwight D. Eisenhower benefited from the political backlash caused by the Korean War and what many Americans saw as a disgraceful military failure, allowing him to become the first Republican president in the White House since Herbert Hoover, a gap of 20 years. Ike, as he was commonly known, presented the aura of a clumsy, almost grandfatherly figure, often found golfing as well as painting. This was used as a strategy to distract the American public from the worldwide political turmoil that followed the ending of World War II. The American public quickly forgot about all the foreign threats that plagued the 40s and early 50s, such as the Korean War and the Soviet expansion into Eastern Europe and Asia. After the war, a rejuvenated consumer culture rose, evidenced by the arrival of TV, suburbanization, and new home appliances which allowed people to be distracted from the darker side of the time. The economy was also doing very well during Eisenhower's presidency, wages rising, international trade thriving, and life expectancy is increasing as well, all of which helped Americans to forget about the looming threats across the oceans. His calm and leisure-loving president calmed the public's anxiety of nuclear war, replaced by stressing the tried-and-true Republican issue of a strong domestic economy. Yet behind this persona, Eisenhower turned his focus to undoing many of the New Deal domestic issues, campaigning to roll back New Deal programs such as stopping public works projects, limiting health care, and public vaccinations. But on the other hand, he did raise the minimum wage and expanded Social Security. While Eisenhower successfully quelled the public's fear of the Cold War, the U.S. government, on the other hand, became increasingly paranoid of the Soviet Union and its aggressive expansion, not only into Europe, but also throughout the globe. In his first year in office, Eisenhower increased military spending by 17% from 2 years prior. As part of his military expansion, he also created SEATO, an organization similar to NATO but focused on Asia, and created the Strategic Air Command to enable a nuclear first strike against the Soviets. During his administration, the CIA began to be used much more aggressively as a tool of American diplomacy, and it was used to topple 3 socialist governments in Guatemala, Iran, and Congo for fear that they may become Russian satellite states. It is ironic that Eisenhower was able to successfully expand and upgrade the U.S. educational system, not for its inherent benefit to the country, but as an answer to what was perceived as a Soviet edge in scientific know-how, as demonstrated by Russia's successful launch of their Sputnik satellites. One fact clearly stands out in understanding the true focus of the Eisenhower administration, and it is taken from the Federation of American Scientists/Natural Resources Defense Council 2010 graph, which reveals that by the end of Eisenhower's presidency, the U.S. had more than 20,000 more nuclear warheads than they had before he took office, which is a clear indication of Eisenhower's effort to have the U.S. completely commit to a no-holds-barred state of Cold War with the Soviet Union. All in all, Dwight Eisenhower was able to calm the public hysteria and create a relatively relaxed environment in the U.S. by playing golf and other such activities that made it seem as if nothing was really wrong. The fact that the public wasn't in the same hysteria that the government was in is a testament to Eisenhower's actions. Had the public known about our involvement in foreign governments through the CIA or just or about just how many times we were able to blow up the world like the government did, the paranoia would have been unimaginable. So we can attribute the lack of our parents and grandparents dying of a paranoia-based heart attack to Dwight D. Eisenhower, who managed to find a way to justify playing as much golf as possible as necessary for the good of the nation.